Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first podcast hosted by Peerless. My name is Nathan Chung, and my co-host is Vandana Verma. I'm currently a senior consultant at EY. And Vandana, want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Vandana and I'm working as a security architect with one of the MNCs. Apart from that, I am working with the community to bring more people in security.
Excellent. And today our special guest is Katie Anton. She is Principal Application Security Consultant for Veracode. Today we will discuss tips on getting a job in cybersecurity. First question today, Katie. This is a burning question for a lot of people I know in and out of cybersecurity. So, how does one get started in cybersecurity, and what are the basic requirements to get a job?
So when it comes to getting into cybersecurity, I think it is important to understand of what are you passionate about, and find your passion. This can be through going to other cybersecurity meetings or joining a project. For example, there are many projects in OWASP that you might want to try to get into and then see if that is something that you'd like to pursue further. And if this is something that you really like to do by joining a project, then you would get a more in-depth but also experience that then you can use in your CV when you go to job interviews.
Okay, great. Okay,
So, Katie, I have a question for you. Uh, do we really need certifications, or are these certifications important in cybersecurity?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think it very much depends on the type of the certification. Now, there are certain certifications where you really need to work hard to get them, but then once you get them, you still need to put a continuous effort into maintaining them. The ones that I'm thinking of are the CSSLP, the Certified Secure Life Cycle Life Software Practitioner, or CISSP. So these are the type of certificates where the exam in itself is between 4 respectively 6 hours. But then once you get that one, you still need to put in efforts to maintain that certificate. So this would be the types that I think it will help you to get that knowledge. And sometimes, my personal opinion, it helps to have your CV move further from the HR. So usually an HR person would look some for certain things, basically checkboxes. So this also can help to passing the HR checkboxes. And these are the certificates that I can think of. Those that ones they are difficult to get, but also they require this continuous effort to maintain them, because the benefit for you is that you actually learn and keep learning. This is an important aspect in our industry, because in the world of security, things are moving and evolving. So that would be a benefit of those type of certificates.
Perfect. Thank you. Also, I want to know how much degree matters. Like, if I have a computer science degree, do I have a better chance of getting a job in cybersecurity, or anyone from any of the fields, if they want to be part of cybersecurity, they can come and be part of it, and we are ready to embrace them?
Yes, I personally don't think that a computer science degree is critical. One of the most important qualities for our job in order to be very good at our job. I think it's problem solving. Now, I don't know which degree would qualify this one. It might not be even a degree, but if people or the candidates show actually that they have a passion for and they are very good at solving problems, I think this would be a good criteria to consider them. The computer science, we have to admit that security is not on the curriculum of most universities. And I'm talking about the Russell Group University in UK, and I from my understanding, the same is the case for the top university in the US. So a computer degree does not necessarily mean that that person is good for security, because most likely they haven't actually been taught the basics in the primary years of computer science, because it's simply not studied yet. So I think the most important is to actually see how good is that person to solve the problems, because this is what the hackers do. They actually get an application and they are figuring out getting information into that application on how exactly can I break into, and that's the problem that they try to solve. And for us, the other people, defenders, or even if you try to break, the question is how can you solve the problem of actually defending better? So I think that's the most important one. And the degree, especially the fact that universities don't study security yet in the first years, it shouldn't be considered, my personal view.
Mm-hmm. Great. So my next question, Katie, is if you want to enter cybersecurity, do they need to have programming or coding experience to get a job?
I think it very much depends of the sector, the area of the security that they want to get into. Probably, if you want to just understand a little bit more, you can enter as an analyst. So that's probably not a domain where you don't need to know how to code. But once you are, and once you decide which area of the security you would like to grow into, probably that's the time when you actually decide, do I need programming experience in order to excel at this domain that I want to get into. I think it's also worth to note that the landscape of companies is changing today, and the software is now in almost any company, including manufacturing companies. So software is going to become a more important part of and is going to be more and more industries. And for this reason, considering at one point to get that basic level of programming might be a good investment for the future, taking into account how the software gets every aspect of our lives.
Okay, thank you. Another question I often get from people is essentially, do they need a technical background to get in cyber? Like, do they have to start at the help desk or systems administration?
Yeah, so I think in the past, the route that somebody would get into cyber was through sysadmin, through system administration. I don't think this applies anymore. So my technical background is from development. So I came from software development. And when I was trying to get into this industry myself, yeah, how to say, I wasn't received with open arms because the sysadmin was the actual root. So I would say the same thing. Depending of the area that you'd like to grow into, it might not necessarily be you might not necessarily come from a technical background. So an area that I think of on top of my head is, for example, social engineering. You don't need a specific technical background to get better at this one. But yeah, of course, if you get into, you can improve, but that's not compulsory. So it very much depends of which is the area that you like to get into and would like to grow into in order to become that expert in that domain.
Next. And next question. For a career in cybersecurity, would you recommend that a person become a generalist or a specialist in cybersecurity?
So probably at the beginning, you need to explore more areas in order to understand to have a better view of what's out there and to understand of what suits you best. But with the time going by, specializing into a particular area, becoming expert into that particular area is probably a better way to get a job or to get into this industry. But it would be a combination of both. Start with a higher level because each, there are many views of the same of the cybersecurity, and it's good to have a wide understanding of the landscape and to have this general view as well. So a little bit of both, I would say.
Great. Thank you so much. Now, when people join in from different fields, from colleges, or from everywhere, how do they find a mentor in InfoSec? Because finding a mentor is the most challenging thing, but the most amazing thing at the same time. So how a person can find a mentor in information security?
So now there are lists out there, or one of the things that I can, one of the lists that I can think of is the list of managed by OWASP UIA, and there is a link for one of the forms, and there may be other ones, but I think it's also important to go to events, network, in order to actually have meet other people, and then that's another route for you to find mentors. Networking to events, go to meetings, other meetings, local meetings, find other people in the same domain, see what they've done, and actually meet those people to see if you like them, first of all, and you like how they're thinking, and if they can help you out in finding this mentor to help you out further.
Mm-hmm. That's really helpful. Also, where do they get to network? Like, there are the mailing lists, but is there any way that they can ask questions or they can get trainings? Is there
yeah, so
please go ahead.
There are events where sometimes they offer training free training. One of the areas that I can think of, or one of the type of the events that I can think of are the OWASP events. For example, the AppSec days, usually these are free, and they will have a day of training, a day of conference, so that where they can actually get free training. There are other type of events where there is like global AppSec, where they can get free training as well. For example, in web defense. So probably if there is a where to start, the ones that I can think of are the OWASP list of conferences or AppSec days. And the other way is to actually have a Twitter account and follow various people, because this allows them to find out about various programs that might be very difficult, for example, for me to give a list now, because they might be on a temporary basis. I'm thinking of some programs that some companies have had for training in Las Vegas this year. So this would be another way to actually keep an eye of what's happening out there and what opportunities are in this case. Twitter, follow some people that you are really interested in, see if you can find more programs where you can get training, free training, and see if those suit you.
Sure, that's really helpful. I'm sure people are going to go back and look for all those things. Now, as you said that there are no concrete resources that you would be able to share right now, but we would actually want to know the resources after the call. I'm sure people would want to know about it. So that they can go back and read. And also, if you can share some of your blogs and your work, that'll be really helpful.
Yeah. I don't have a particular blog. I don't maintain at the moment one. Probably I might start one in the future, but at the moment I don't have one of those. But yeah, I can come up with a list.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. Apart from that, how can they demonstrate the skills? Now they know that there is a blog, there is a training that that they've gone through, but they need to demonstrate their skills. That yes, they are confident enough to take cybersecurity as a career, and they can show people yes, they're part of it now.
Yes. So one of the things that I encourage everyone is to actually, once they learn of what they would like to do, to go into the OWASP projects list and then see if there are projects that they would like to closely get involved into. You can actually contact the project leaders for that project, and then you can start contributing to the project that you are interested in. So there is a wide number of projects, and they are all open for people to contribute to. Now, the advantage of this is that, so this is how I started as well. I saw that I have some ideas that I can improve in, and then I joined the OWASP Top 10 Proactive Controls project. The advantage of this from my own personal experience is that you learn much more faster. By working with other people in the industry that have been doing this for years, it gives you a boost in your security knowledge. That's one thing. So you can progress faster. The other thing is that working with these people, they can actually become a reference if you need them. So if they like your work, you can actually ask them to, to help you out or to give a testimony of what you've done. So that's another thing. So rather than actually going into an interview and saying, I can do X, Y, and Z, you can actually be in a position to say, I've done X, Y, and Z, and this is what I'm good at. But you don't need to believe me. You can ask these people that I've worked with, and they can testify for my skills. So you have another person that can actually help you out and to get that job.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Katie. So my next question is essentially, I'm going to highlight some types of people who are asking me how to get into cyber. I want to hear from your experience tips you would give them. Like, for example, a single parent, a single parent with kids at home. How would they get into cybersecurity?
So, being a single parent means that you cannot control much of your time, and you don't have that much spare time. One thing that they can do is that in the little spare time that they have left, is if they can actually join a project. Sometimes going to a meeting might be a little bit challenging for this. So for this reason, probably using online in the little spare time that they have to either join various online communities or joining a project where you don't necessarily need to physically meet with people. You can do it via various platforms. So that might be a way for them to actually get into this domain.
Okay, great. What about for new college graduates who are just out of school?
So in the case of the new college graduates, most likely they, if there are some master degrees out there from my understanding. So if they've done one of those, then it means that they have already choose a path and they kind of know what they want to do. But for those that still want to find out, probably the best way is to actually explore more domains, either for jobs, entry jobs levels, or via meetings, local conferences. Explore more domain in order to understand what they really like to do. So the first step is understand what you are really passionate about and what you are really what is the actual domain that you'd like to spend most of your time into. But in order to actually have a better understanding of what you like to do, you need to go and explore more domains. And you can achieve this one through local meetups, especially in large cities. There are lots of meetings and meetups on various domains, topics. You can go to conferences, either OWASP PubSec Days, besides even another one. There are lots of DEF CON groups as well in various cities. So this would give you exposure to breaking, defending, building these sections. And then once you have an understanding of the various domains into the cyber, and you have a good understanding of what you like to do, then this is when you actually start and focus on that particular domain more.
Okay, great. And what about for some people who didn't have the ability to go to college and they have no experience at all in cyber? Do you have any advice for them?
Yeah, so like I said, from my point of view, the college degree, I don't think it's a compulsory requirement. I think it's more important to understand how good at problem solving those people are. And if they don't have a college degree, then but they still want to pursue a career. So in a way, this is how I actually started okay, I have a college degree, but it was completely unrelated. It's in science, and the science at the time was not considered an appropriate degree for security, believe it or not. So in a way, I actually relate to these people. So how I started was going to meetups, but then joining a project, and that's what really helped me as well. To actually get this experience, but also having hands-on experience, but then having the means to prove that, yes, I know what to do. I know this area. I've done this. I work with these people. And if you don't believe me, you can ask them. So that's another good way to actually boost your career.
Great. That's amazing that you shared. And next question is, for people who are in IT now, do you have any advice on how they can transfer their skills into cybersecurity?
Or somehow?
Yeah, so I think for this section probably is the easiest transfer, because they would, in a way, would work with software in a capacity or not. Either they might be in ops, in software. So in a way, they actually already have some experience and some skills that then they can transfer to cybersecurity. So probably this is the easiest way. There are many. There is a large number of shortage of people that have understanding of both IT, DevOps, software, and that would be great to actually have understanding of security. So for this segment, and it might be probably the easiest way to make the jump into the cybersecurity.
Okay, great. And another group of friends that I often hear about are the veterans, those who served in the military. They often want to go into cyber. So what tips would you have for them?
Yeah, I think the military was a group that actually delivers a lot of, great people in the InfoSec. So this would very much apply to the InfoSec area. And because their background in Army and because of their training, they can transfer a lot of those skills. So they already have some skills, and all it needs is to transfer them into the world of cyber. But and that it shouldn't be a difficult part for them to achieve. Usually they have a set of skills that are very important for us, like strategies and knowing your enemy, which is what we try to do. So they should be able to transfer these skills into the area of the cyber.
And Vandana?
Sorry, I was speaking on it. So, thank you so much. This is really helpful. Any parting words or any high-level tips that you want to give it to the audience in the end?
Probably the ones that I can think is go to the OWASP projects page, see if there is anything that you would have an interest in, and see if you'd like to join one of those projects to get more understanding into those particular areas of domains.
Mhm. How did you get into cybersecurity?
So I was in software development, and the company that I worked on at the time, they actually had, because of financial reasons, they wanted to secure the software. And that's when I've been asked to look into this. I've started by looking at the OWASP website, and I realized that it was a very large domain that I needed to learn about. And I started going to meetings, but at the time, so it was some time ago, the majority of people in security were coming from sysadmin, and were, especially in England, and is still the case today. They are primarily pen testers. So me coming from a software development background was not that warmly received. So it took me a long time to actually go into this domain. As application security consultant, like securing software, because at the time what I was looking for was simply not there. So the primary interest of the companies, and today is still the same in UK, is like pen testing. You just show that you can break an application, and that's about it. So it wasn't that much emphasis put on securing the software while writing the code. So it took me some time to actually find the right environment to actually get and apply my experience into.
Mhm.
Yep, that's incredible. So that wraps up for today's podcast. I would like to thank Katie Anton for joining us today. That was an amazing story, and thank you for all your tips. I'd also like to thank my amazing co-host, Vandana Verma, and thanks to our host today, Peerless. Peerless is a global InfoSec community and one of the platforms that can be used by those who are looking to enter into information security. And we invite people to ask questions and comments for the podcast on Peerless. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.